Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Renee and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to achieve a flat wash in watercolors. So I'm going to start by mixing up a generous amount of one color that I would like to use. When you're doing flat washes, it's always best to have too much. Another good tip when you are making your flat wash is to start with a light tone. You don't want it to be too saturated, too thick. I usually like to layer up my flat washes. It also helps to have your paper pre-moistened as well. Wet on wet is the easiest way to get a flat wash. So I'm actually holding my paper block up and I am just going along the very bottom edge and just helping to guide that color down. And as I see it start to fade out, I'll reach in, grab some more color and just dab it right on. Dab it right on. And just help bring that down. This is going to be, like I said, the first go about. I always have a very thin, very light consistency. There we go. So I'm just going to soak up some of this excess water down here. Just because I don't want it to drain into the next part, because I'm going to be doing more than one on this page and I can tell that it's going to need a little more color, so I'm just going to go ahead and just let that fade in. Because this paper is very wet, I'm not worried about any blooms happening, but I do want to control this drop down here. I do not want that to be more pigmented than the rest, so I am very gently just pressing a little bit into this paint so that it's not soaking up all the water, but just a bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and just let my paper lay flat and I will let this dry. Okay, so this first layer of paint has dried and it's a really nice light pastel type color. I actually want to make this a little bit deeper, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to do another layer, and this time I am not going to moisten the paper before I start. So what this is going to be is more of a wet on dry technique, so I'll show you how I do that. So I'm just loading up my brush here and I'm going to start from the top. I'm going to tilt my paper just a bit, and what I want is to have along the edge of where I've painted that puddle of water there. I want to keep that puddle there. As long as that puddle is there, I'm not worried about that edge drying, and I know that I will keep a more seamless wash. So I'm going to make sure I am fully prepared with more than enough paint to get the job done. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm kind of tilting my paper and I'm going to go ahead and make sure I keep a wet edge. Moving quickly, but still having controlled strokes. So I'm working down this line right here because I'm not too worried about this right here. I know that this is okay because it does have that drop there. Actually, I think it would be nice to show how to do a flat wash when you have something actually to work around. I mean, the process is still the same, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to sketch out a simple image here, maybe a fruit. Let's do a pineapple. And then we'll do our flat wash around the sketch of the pineapple. So I'm just going to grab some cobalt blue, and same thing, I'm just going to mix up a good puddle of it on my palette. And I'm going to follow that same technique. I'm just going to go ahead, make sure my brush is wet, and I'm going to paint in, keeping that edge so that I know I'm safe to move about. Big drop there, and kind of guiding that drop. I guide it down into the little crevice, and then I guide it back out. So I'm not leaving any drops up here. I'm making sure that that drop is traveling around. For this half of the painting though, I should have started up here. That way I can keep the water flowing down. So I'm just going to tilt my paper in the opposite direction now. See right here, it's not a very smooth shape, and that's perfectly fine. I didn't sketch smoothly anyways. Once I go in and paint it, I know that's gonna look just fine. But the last thing that I would do is come in here with any more paint. This right here is still slightly damp. If I were to put any paint there, it would bloom and just create a big bloom. So I'm gonna use a light red brown color here, being careful as I spray that I don't hit any of my drawing sections. And really the type of paper that you're using also comes into play. I am using 100% cotton. I'm using Arteza paper. This paper is not cheap, but it really makes a difference. When it comes to watercolor, your paper is so important. If you're having difficulty doing certain techniques, check your paper. It's probably more often than not your paper choice. So I'm gonna let that finish, and then I will go in and I'm plan on doing 4 different fruits here in gouache. Alright, so I am going to go ahead and call this done. I went ahead and did the 4 different fruits in the gouache. I really like how it all turned out, especially those flat washes. This one right here is definitely my favorite. I love that intensity so much. So I hope that my tips in this video helped you out. If they did, please do leave me a like and comment down below if maybe there's anything else that you would like to learn. I do have some tips and tricks that I will be sharing as well in the future and more tutorials. So do go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss out on that. Hit the bell icon so you get notifications of when I post. I do post every week. I am working hard to grow this little channel. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have a good one. Bye.